Whales drink without swallowing the sea, their sword energy has reached autumn. Heroes are still strong and old, like little sword immortals under the moon. This is a serious fairy tale novel. Reader QQ Group 703480517 Keywords of the novel. One sword breaks through the 9 heavens without a pop-up window. One sword breaks through the 9 heavens TXT complete collection download. One sword breaks through the 9 heavens latest chapter reading. Chapter 1 External Chapter. Demons prove the way. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 External Chapter. Demons prove the way. The 9 calamities are linked. The heavenly calamity triggers the human calamity, and the human calamity triggers the life calamity. There are a total of 20.8 types of disasters that arise, and even the heavenly calamity will destroy me. I gave a cold smile and didn't agree with the calculated result of playing Tianzhu. I was introduced to the Tianqin temple by a teacher at the age of 3, and at the age of 18, I had already completed the cultivation of the 5 consciousnesses of the Tianqin temple. I opened the heavenly demon 5 consciousnesses, which were highly valued by the elders of the Moji sect, and brought them into this sect to participate in the cultivation of the Wushang Heavenly Demon Secret Scripture, Heavenly Demon Transformation Scripture. At the age of 20.8, he overcame the eternal calamity, and within a year, he subdued the extraterrestrial demons, refined his own divine demons, and became the youngest demon lord in the demon sect. After the age of 30, he dominated the world without a single defeat and was hailed as one of the 6 authentic sects of the demon sect, 18 unique traditions, 30.6 side sects, and 70.2 external sections. He has been the first genius to descend for thousands of years. Afterwards, I was brave and progressive. For 200 years, I broke through 4 realms in a row, and at the age of 320, I was promoted to one of the 6 major demon lords of the demon sect, known as the Wanhua Demon Lord. In order to make further breakthroughs and promote myself to the supreme realm of demons in the demon sect, I entered the 10,000 Demons Hall and took out the highest scripture of the supreme demon sect, the Book of Lihen Heaven. After obtaining the highest scripture of the demon sect, Lihen Tian Shu, I practiced diligently for 180 years. 10 days ago, my demon skills finally reached their ultimate level, becoming the first person in the contemporary demon sect and the only supreme heavenly demon in the demon sect. At the moment when I gave my name and transformed into a heavenly demon in the 33rd day, I sensed that the heavenly calamity and the human calamity were launched together. Even though the heavenly demon's body was almost indestructible, it was also suffering from fate. The Demon Gate's treasure, the heavenly pearl, has calculated several times for the past and future, but still presents a situation of 10 deaths and no life. The only glimmer of vitality is actually in the past and not in the future. The past cannot be traced, the future cannot be grasped, and this glimmer of vitality is simply waiting for it. Just that I went from being ordinary, step by step practicing to reaching the realm of heavenly demons, with an incredibly strong mind. Even the heavenly demons outside the domain cannot shake a single bit. How could I be shaken by this? Even though we know that fate is imminent, with 10 deaths and no life, and a series of tribulations, we can only break through illusions, step through life and death, and have no intention of retreating. I put away the Tianzhu, which is known as one of the 5 treasures of the demon sect. It can deduce everything and everything. Although I also know that Tianzhu will never make mistakes, I still hold the will of man to conquer heaven. I gazed at the Milky Way, and after a long time, I let out a clear cry. My disciple. 8 paths of glory surged up on the flat ground, 3 men and 5 women all bowing down in front of me. These 8 people are all my personal disciples. Xiang Qing, the highest cultivation disciple, had already broken through the realm of the demon lord 100 years ago and was known as the Purple Qi Demon Lord, making him a giant in the demon realm. The other 6 disciples also have extraordinary cultivation, and are the new generation of influential figures in the demon sect. Each of them has the ability to penetrate the sky and earth, and the means to turn the tide of rain and clouds. No one who comes out of their own sect is weak. Only my youngest disciple, Emei, was promoted to the level of the Six Desires demon after only 13 years of apprenticeship due to his late entry. However, he had already advanced to the level of the Six Desires demon. Emei's talent is almost on par with mine back then, and she even surpasses my eldest disciple Xiangqing. She will definitely overcome the calamity of immortality within 20 years, but she may not be willing to become the unparalleled Tianjiao of the new generation of the demon sect. I glanced at these 8 disciples, with a hint of sarcasm on their faces. All 8 disciples immediately remained silent, including Xiangqing, who had already reached the level of the demon lord. He pursed his thin lips with a solemn expression, no longer exuding the legendary aura of the purple Qi demon lord, with his purple aura encompassing all directions and his sleeves hanging over 3 mountains. 100 years ago, Xiangqing was promoted to the rank of demon lord and became the purple Qi demon lord of the demon sect. He was on par with the other 5 demon kings of the demon sect and had long developed a grand momentum. It is said that once he engaged in a martial arts battle with someone, and his body was filled with the purple yang demonic energy of the demon sect, which surged out of the cage and covered the 3 peaks where the opponent's sect was located. Sheng sealed the opponent's mountain gate for 9 months until several old members of the sect intervened before calmly retreating. Since then, he has received an additional praise of purple Qi containing all directions, hanging sleeves and caged 3 mountains. Moreover, it was just a few old guys from the Dao sect who spread the word from their mouths, which was much louder than the self-proclaimed reputation of the demon sect. At this moment, Xiangqing has no momentum, just like when he first apprenticed, he was very respectful. My eldest disciple is known as the most beautiful man in the demon sect, but his temperament is just like mine. Apart from pursuing the great path of the demon sect, he ignores all love and grievances. He comes from the demon sect but has never had a loyal confidant, nor has he received any cauldron. He is simple and square, and even makes me feel like he is not practicing the true legend of the demon sect with me, but a mysterious seed of the sect trained by an old antique in the sect. The other 7 disciples also know my temper and temperament, they are all grand and dare not reveal it. Even the most stubborn and self-proclaimed 4th disciple Ling Fei, the top scoundrel of the demon sect, dare not show any more playful expressions. My calamity this time is a series of 9 calamities. The heavenly calamities trigger the human calamities, and the human calamities trigger the life calamities. The heavenly calamities and human calamities are launched together. In other words, these disciples who I personally trained may also become one of my human tribulations. If we follow the consistent style of the demon sect, we should eradicate the root cause and eliminate future troubles first. These 8 disciples also knew that I might resort to such violent means, but none of them dared to escape at this time. With my command, they all came obediently. I rubbed my chin for a while, with a cold smile on my face. After a long time, I slowly said, the fate of being a teacher has come, but the inheritance of my heavenly heart concept cannot be cut off. Whether I can survive this fate or not, from today on, the leader of heavenly heart concept will be Xiangqing. The eldest disciple Xiangqing raised his head slightly. Just as he was about to say something, I casually pointed and a black light flew into his left eye pupil. He whispered, "This is the highest scripture of the demon sect, the Book of Li Hentian. When you have nowhere else to go, take a look." Xiangqing trembled slightly and his voice trembled slightly. He whispered, "Li Hentian Shu is one of the 3 highest scriptures of the demon sect, and it also has infinite wonderful uses. Master may be useful in resisting the heavenly calamity. Why give it to my disciple at this time?" I waved my hand, but Xiangqing dared not speak any more. I immediately glanced at my second disciple Feng Taisui. He originally came from a demon tribe and taught me the great magic of the demon sect. His temperament was the most fierce. I casually pulled off the sword from my waist and threw it away, saying indifferently, "Taisui, you have a fierce temperament. Although you are brave and progressive in your cultivation, you are more susceptible to the temptation of heavenly demons. This 9-chin demon sword is the first magic weapon I have personally refined since my cultivation. It has been telepathic and may one day help you slay your inner demons. Feng Taisui took the 9-chin demon sword and choked up slightly. He lowered his head and remained silent. I caressed his big head and smiled, saying, "You had a great feeling when you entered my door, but now you never have that chance again." Feng Taisui's whole body trembled and he whispered, "I dare not forget my master's kindness in the beginning, disciple Wuri." I ignored Feng Taisui anymore and looked at my third disciple Xiao Guanyin with a hint of indulgence, saying, "You have a stubborn personality. No one dares to harm you with me. If I am not here, I will seek help from my senior brother and your fourth junior brother." I casually threw a Chinquan bag over and smiled, saying, "I've saved all my life in this bag, not to mention that the master didn't leave any good things for his disciple." Xiao Guanyin has a natural disposition, and even if her parents and family were killed by the most brutal methods stolen by the Han Si demon, she did not shed a single tear. After 3 years of successful cultivation, Xiao Guanyin captured all thousands of Han Hai demon thieves alive and tortured them for 10 years with the magic of the demon sect. It was only then that he refined his soul and soul one by one to offer a soul separation flag, in order to constantly torment these enemies who had destroyed the sect. However, at this moment, Xiao Guanyin's eyes were slightly flushed, and she wanted to cry, no longer showing her usual cold demeanor. I glanced at my 4 most despicable disciples, Ling Fei, and smiled, saying, "Among the 8 disciples under my sect, except for the eldest senior brother, you have the highest cultivation. In the future, remember to take care of more junior brothers and sisters, and don't let your third senior sister suffer losses." Ling Fei smiled and said, "Master is the only supreme demon in the contemporary demon sect. If we survive the calamity, the demon's power will sweep across the world. Who dares to provoke us disciples? I wish Master great success, eternal life, and invincibility in the world of demons for eternity." Ling Fei usually has a lively attitude and is known as the top scoundrel of the demon gate. Although he is joking at this time, he is very forced, just holding on his smile. I reached out and pointed at a white light that flew down Ling Fei's eyebrows, saying calmly, "I was originally a disciple of the Tianqin temple next to the demon sect, but after achieving success in cultivation, I was taken in by one of the 6 main sects, the demon extreme sect. This is the demon sacrifice of the demon extreme sect. If you get this item, you will be considered the next generation leader of the demon extreme sect." Ling Fei was taken aback and reached out to brush his hand. Suddenly, a vertical mark appeared on his eyebrows, and a white bone bead appeared in the mark, like an eye that looked down at the world. I chuckled and said, "The heavenly demon relic is one of the 5 most precious treasures of the demon sect, with a mysterious origin. The leaders, elders, and disciples of the demon extreme sect throughout history, as long as they don't die horizontally, will infuse their lifelong cultivation into the heavenly demon relic before they are on the brink of death. In terms of killing power, the heavenly demon relic ranks first in the demon sect. You have offended all 5 demon sovereigns of the demon sect. If you don't have this item, with the various major disasters caused by your child, after becoming a teacher, I'm afraid no one can protect you. Even your senior brother won't be able to do it. As a teacher, I can't use this item anymore, so I'll give you a discount. Kid." Ling Fei hesitated for a moment before collapsing and saying, "I thank you, Master." He, who had always been exhausted, had a slight choking, indicating the agitation of his mood. After I instructed these 4 disciples, I didn't have much patience with the remaining 4 disciples. I said to the 5th disciple Yang Yong, the 6th disciple Zhu Hongxiu, and the 7th disciple Long Jiji, "You should go back to the Taishang demon sect now. I don't need you here anymore. You were originally the disciples I snatched, but now I'm on the brink of disaster and I can't protect myself. Wherever you come from, you can go." Liang Yong, Zhu Hongxiu, and Long Jiji, these 3 female disciples, are not actually my true disciples. They were originally the most outstanding female disciples of the Tai Shang demon sect, one of the 6 authentic sects of the demon sect. The Tai Shang demon sect and the Mog sect, both of which I come from, hold the bolliers of the demon sect and hold the 10,000 demon hall. There is also the heavenly demon light ruler, one of the 5 most precious treasures of the demon sect, which suppresses the sect. The Li Hen Tian Shu is the only 3 volumes of the demon sect that can promote the supreme heavenly demon, and its strength is still higher than that of the Mog sect, which I come from, far surpassing the other 4 sects. After achieving the title of Demon Lord, I broke into the 10,000 Demons Hall and wagered 3 battles with the 9 Abyss Demon Lord of the Supreme Demon Sect, winning over his 3 most outstanding female disciples. We had originally agreed to gamble 10 times in a row, but after the 9 Abyss Demon Lord lost 3 games, he would rather lose the 10,000 Demons Hall to me than continue gambling. Although Liang Yong, Zhu Hongxiu, and Long Jiji have also received my guidance to break through their own boundaries, their relationship with me is not very deep, far inferior to my 4 true disciples. Perhaps they even hate me in their hearts. If I hadn't had any trouble, they would have been just disciples of the demon extreme sect and would never have been able to make a name for themselves. However, at this moment, I am in dire straits and keeping these 3 female disciples is of no use. Liang Yong raised his head slightly, his beautiful eyes devoid of any emotion, and whispered, "I wish my mentor a break from calamity and become a demon, soaring for 30.3 days. After finishing these words, she paused and turned into a magical light soaring into the sky, leaving without a trace in an instant. Liang Yong originally had a very elegant name, called Liang Shuyu. Her appearance is also stunning, and she is a famous beauty among the 6 authentic members of the demon sect. She is also the eldest disciple personally selected by the 9 Abyss Demon Lord. Her status in the Tai Shang demon sect is like that of my eldest disciple Xiang Qing. Her talent are no less than Xiang Qing's, and even her temperament is very similar to my eldest disciple Xiang Qing's. Apart from the demonic path, she has nothing else. After I snatched Liang Yong into the demon extreme sect, he changed his name to a more masculine one. He usually dresses better in men's clothing and deliberately uses magic techniques to change his appearance to be just like a man. This female disciple has never rebelled against my master, and she has never fully complied. She follows the rules and regulations, like carving mud and wood sculptures, but I know there must be a sense of pride in her heart that has never been erased by the real one. When these 5 disciples were about to leave, they finally showed some of the unparalleled demeanor of Liang Shuyu, who was once known as the eldest disciple of the Supreme Demon Sect. Zhu Hongxiu and Long Jiji exchanged a glance, each biting their silver teeth and congratulating me on breaking the calamity and becoming a demon. They then self-controlled the escape light and flew away, seemingly not wanting to stay for a moment. If I hadn't snatched them to the demon extreme sect, they would have been the most outstanding disciples of the Supreme Demon Sect. They may not have had the opportunity to be promoted to the Demon Lord or even take over the 10,000 Demons Hall in the future. They watched as Xiang Qin gradually rose to the rank of Demon Lord. Liang Yong's cultivation had been suppressed for decades, and his own path had been cut off. There was a limit to his future achievements, and if he had no hatred in his heart, no one would believe it. I watched as these 3 female disciples left, and finally looked at the youngest disciple in Ning'er. With a chuckle, I said, "You should also return to the Emei sect. I have been fighting with your father for most of my life and even took his only daughter as an apprentice, allowing you to cultivate a whole body of magic skills. However, you always lost his most crucial move. He has been soaring for 30.3 days now, but I will face the fate of 10 deaths and no life. It is he who has surpassed me." Ning'er gritted her teeth and whispered, "Thank you, my disciple." She casually pinched a talisman that had long been hidden in her sleeve, turning into a blue light and flying away. I looked up for a while, waiting until I could never see the youngest disciple again. Then, I waved my sleeves and shouted, "You too." Xiang Qing, Feng Taisui, Xiao Guanyin, and Ling Fei each kowtowed and walked more than 100 steps to show respect. Only then did I reluctantly control the escape light and fly away. After waiting for all 8 disciples to leave, I let out a sigh and with a casual move, 3 magic treasures appeared and flew around my body. After becoming the demon lord, I used clever means to seize 2 of the 5 greatest treasures of the demon sect, namely the heavenly demon relic and the acting heavenly pearl. The former is the treasure of the Moji sect, which should have been under my control. The latter comes from the Qiankuan Dao and is the treasure of the Qiankuan Dao. However, the Qiankuan sect did not block the characters and could not resist my demonic power, unable to protect this treasure of the Zhenzong sect. After I achieved the supreme demon, without any means, I didn't even speak up. The other sects of the demon sect obediently presented me with the other 3 heavenly demons, the Great Freedom Demon Banner, and the Muddy Heaven Demon Mirror, all of which were the 5 greatest treasures of the demon sect. They invited me to Yejian, and all of them belonged to me. The 5 greatest treasures of the demon gate are not worldly objects, but come from beyond the illusory 30.3 days. Each one is mysterious and has extraordinary functions. The Hun Tian Mo Jian can command all demons and is best at summoning demons from outside the domain. It is a treasure of the mixed heavenly Dao sect. Now that I am in a series of heavenly and life robbery, I will not bring it with me. With this item by my side, if I were to summon the infinite demon again, I wouldn't even have to consider crossing the tribulation. I just need to consider how to die happily. This precious treasure has been suppressed by me in the deepest part of the demon hall, and it will never cause any rebellion. As for the heavenly demon relic, this item draws on the essence of the skills of thousands of cultivators in the Moji sect, and also integrates the dying demonic thoughts of countless Moji sect cultivators. It is extremely evil, and I can suppress it on my own in normal times. When I crossed the tribulation, the heavenly demon relics were not only not helpful, but also highly likely to backfire on my master. Therefore, I gave them to my 4th disciple Ling Fei. With Ling Fei, the new master, suppressing me, the heavenly demon relics will no longer interfere with my journey through this calamity. There are 3 remaining treasures of the demon gate, the Tianzhu, which has a mysterious origin and is good at deducing all things. It is said to contain a supreme magic formula of the demon gate, but no one can penetrate it and can only use its own magic to drive it to deduce good or bad luck. Although the Tianzhu cannot be used outside of martial arts, I still need to rely on it to find vitality in the midst of adversity, which is indispensable. The origin of the heavenly demon banner and the heavenly demon leaving light ruler is even more mysterious, and they are respectively controlled by the heavenly demon sect and the supreme demon sect. These 2 heavenly demon treasures are already unparalleled weapons for killing and attacking, each with different powers. The 2 highest scriptures of the demon sect, the Free Heavenly Demon Classic and the Book of Li Hentian, are imprinted on these 2 treasures. Any practitioner of the 2 major scriptures of the demon sect is waiting to sacrifice and refine these 2 treasures with lifelong cultivation. Their power is infinite, and they are the 2 major reliance for me to overcome calamity. Although the heavenly demon sect is one of the 6 authentic sects of the demon sect, it has declined in talent and is 1 head weaker than the demon extreme sect and the supreme demon sect. Even the 9 abyss demon lord cannot maintain the heavenly demon leaving light foot, making the heavenly demon sect even more desolate. The successive leaders of the Tai Shang demon sect were ambitious, always thinking that the heavenly demon leaving the light ruler came from 33 days away. Perhaps in the future, if they become demons, they will be controlled by the heavenly demon ancestor. They spared no effort for 3,000 years and devoted all their sect strength to refining 2 treasures. One was the Li Hen Heavenly Book, which imitated the heavenly demon leaving the light ruler and was refined. Another item of the supreme demon sect is the 10,000 Demons Hall. If it weren't for the day when I became a demon, would have triggered a chain of 9 tribulations. The heavenly tribulations would trigger the human tribulations, and the human tribulations would trigger the life tribulations. It's hard not to say that I would have learned to step into the Tai Shang demon sect and personally refine a magic gate treasure, so as not to soar for 30.3 days but be controlled by the extraterrestrial demon ancestor and become a bull and horse for people. After all, the demon gate is not a Taoist sect. The demon heart is deceitful, and Feisheng is just a replacement for a larger Shura field, with even more brutal battles. Unfortunately, I have no choice but to deal with the impending disaster first. After releasing the 3 most precious treasures of the demon gate, I let out a long and leisurely roar, completely releasing the fate that had been suppressed. The changes between heaven and earth suddenly changed, as if the universe had opened up a vast expanse, and there was no distinction between heaven and earth anymore. The front of the 10,000 Demons Hall was in chaos. I took a step forward without hesitation and walked into the chaos. In an instant, the sky and earth were filled with thunderbolts, with only a chaotic mass slowly spinning in the void. As soon as I stepped into chaos, 7 paths of hidden light flew by, and among them were 7 Taoist priests with impressive appearances and flying spirits, each with different visions. If you have the vision to see extraordinary people, you will surely be shocked to see these 7 Taoists, because these 7 Taoists are the most outstanding figures of the righteous sect, known as the 7 Great True Kings, on par with the 6 Great Demon Kings of our demon sect. These 7 people stared at the chaotic air masses, without suppressing their majestic magic. Some had a clear cloud above their heads, some were surrounded by a colorful glow, some trembled with 9 colored circles behind their heads, some were surrounded by golden lotus flowers and colorful sky lanterns, some had 3 blue relics on their heads, some had laurel and fusang trees above their heads, and another had a brilliant golden river under their feet. These 7 people appeared together. Even if I had not yet encountered any calamity, I would still retreat. Together, these 7 people can be considered as a group of demons and no one can stop them. The other 5 demon lords of the demon sect will definitely not fight against these 7 people because of me. My own eldest disciple Xiang Qing has long been defeated and left. Even though this is the important place of our demon sect, the 10,000 Demon Hall. At least tens of thousands of disciples of the demon sect are practicing here, but no one dares to look half at the sky, let alone intervene to prevent it. The disciples of the demon sect in the 10,000 Demons Hall were all trembling with fear of being easily destroyed by the 7 Great True Sovereigns. The 7 Great True Kings paid no attention to the disciples of the demon sect in the 10,000 Demons Hall. They just looked at the chaos in the sky, and led by the Xuanda 5 Spirit True Kings, they whispered, "This demon has been promoted to the supreme heavenly demon, with unparalleled magic power and invincibility in the mortal world. If he is allowed to overcome this calamity, it will be the turn of the righteous sects to face difficulties. This is the only opportunity for the righteous sects, so don't leave your hands." A laurel appeared above his head, and the pure and delicate True Lord, who supported the mulberry trees, let out a sigh and exclaimed, "If it weren't for this demon calculating the way to ascend to immortality, my righteous path would have lost the power to resist this demon, and the situation wouldn't have been so bad. In this battle, if we lose, we will all lose. I'm afraid all my righteous sects will be destroyed one by one. Let's all achieve this merit together." After speaking, the 2 true kings each urged a ray of rosy light to rush into the sky, while the other 5 true kings also infused their magical power into the chaotic aura, intending to use their own magical power to increase the power of fate and completely eliminate the demon sect, the only remaining supreme demon in 1400 years. I am driving the great freedom heavenly demon flag and heavenly demon leaving light ruler to fight against the heavenly calamity in the chaotic atmosphere. My current calamity can be divided into 9 levels. Heavenly calamity, human calamity, life calamity, 3 calamities overlapping with 9, and the last major calamity, resulting in a total of 20.8 calamities. If there were only heavenly tribulations, I could still pass them with my magical power. Even with human tribulations, I would be content and unafraid, but if there were also 9 life tribulations, I would have little confidence. Not to mention the coincidence of 3 calamities and 9 calamities, as well as the final major calamity. Even playing the heavenly pearl can only deduce that the only vitality is in the past. Unless I did not join the demon gate in the beginning, I was destined to die 10 times without life. I fight against the heavenly calamity on one hand, and on the other hand, I urge the heavenly pearl to search for a glimmer of hope to overcome it. Even if I die 10 times without life, I will never give up. Although the 9 heavenly calamities are fierce and evil, with the protection of the great freedom heavenly demon flag and the heavenly demon light leaving foot, I am naturally content and fearless. In fact, even without these 2 magic treasures, I could still overcome the 9 heavenly calamities. With these 2 magic treasures, I was just using them to save mana and cope with the upcoming human tribulations. In a blink of an eye, the 3 levels of heavenly calamity were extinguished, and the 4th level of heavenly calamity was born again. I was about to use my magic to overcome the calamity when suddenly 7 rays of light emerged from the chaos. Countless purple and colorful clouds, sealing lanterns, and 3 relics rushed in, and a golden river rushed in. Tianjia has gained the magical power of the 7 true kings, which is 10 times more ferocious than before. I was taken aback for a moment, then smiled and said, "It turns out these 7 old guys have arrived. They want to take advantage of my calamity and fall into the well. How could there be such an easy calculation?" I reached out and pointed to the great freedom heavenly demon flag, which evolved into a million zhang demon light. It took me half an hour of fierce fighting to defeat the 4th calamity. The 4th calamity collapsed, and the 5th calamity emerged on its own, evolving into an endless thunderbolt, roaring with lightning waves and crashing down. This time, I replaced it with the heavenly demon Liguang ruler. The heavenly demon Liguang ruler was originally a treasure of the Tai Shang demon sect, capable of releasing tens of thousands of zhang of hatred demon light, transforming it into a 33-fold magic palace scenic spot. Combined with the magic recorded in the Book of Hatred, it has infinite power and unpredictable wonders. It is said that this treasure has the ability to shuttle through the past and future, but no one has ever been able to activate this power, so even I don't know if this statement is true. Rao is the 5th level of heavenly calamity, fierce and evil. The 7 true kings have powerful magical powers and fought for 7 or 8 hours, but still cannot break through the Wanzhongli hate demon light. Instead, it makes the 33rd level of the demon palace in the Wanzhongli hate demon light even more luxurious and enchanting. Countless heavenly demon maidens dance gracefully, and their pure red bodies give birth to infinite wonders. The 7 true kings outside the chaotic aura fought fiercely with me for 7 or 8 hours using the power of the heavenly calamity, but they were also secretly shocked. Xuanda Wulingjinjuan let out a long roar, and suddenly the acres of Qingyun on top of his head turned around and merged into the chaotic air. The other 6 Xinjuan couldn't help but sigh in unison. Qingshu Yuan Miao Xinjuan wanted to stop him, but after sighing, he pointed to the laurel and mulberry trees above his head and flew into the chaotic air. The Qingyun on the head of Xuanda Wulingjinjuan, the laurel refined by Qingshu Yuan Miao Xinjuan, and the double trees of Fusang are the fruits of their lifelong hard work. They will soar for 33 days in the future, relying on breaking through the 9 heavens immortal gang. Without the fruits, they will need at least hundreds of years of hard work to regain their cultivation, reducing at least 50% of the chance to soar for 33 days. The 2 true rulers gave up the fruit of hundreds of years of hard cultivation, and I immediately tightened my grip. I watched as the 10,000 Zhongli hate demon light swallowed by the heavenly demon Li Guang Qi gradually faded away, and the 33-fold magic palace scenery that was transformed by the demon light gradually collapsed. I was not surprised but happy, and I drank low. I shook my body and transformed into a 10,000 zhang demon body, revealing the supreme heavenly demon's true body. I grabbed it and gently crushed the 5th level of heavenly calamity. The 5th calamity collapsed, and the chaotic air suddenly transformed into boundless red water from the void, surging like waves, boundless and boundless, hanging in the sky like clouds, transforming into an immense force. Even I dare not be careless about this heavy heavenly calamity. The heavenly calamity red water is the best at eroding the immortal body and the demonic body. The supreme heavenly demon has never experienced any calamity and cannot withstand the heavenly calamity red water. If I carry it with the demonic body, at most for a moment or 3, the tempered demonic body will be transformed by the heavenly calamity red water. I shook my body and collected my 10,000 zhang demon body, still shaking off the great freedom heavenly demon flag to resist the 6th heavenly calamity. Suddenly, it was just a few decades of time. I suffered 8 calamities in a row, and the chaotic aura transformed by the heavenly calamity gave birth to billions of sword soldiers constantly attacking the protective magic light. Once this calamity passed, the 9 heavenly calamities would pass. There are 7 true kings who have taken action. Among the heavenly tribulations, there is a mixture of human tribulations. If these 9 heavenly tribulations were to be overcome, I would be considered to have overcome most of the human tribulations. However, if the life tribulations appear in the future, I will have no chance of survival, and the results of the Tianzhu simulation will also become worse and worse. Although I have always been calm and composed, I can't help but feel a little anxious at this moment. As I watch myself enter a situation of 10 deaths and no life, there is no way to crack it. At this moment, Yan Tianzhu, who deduced the fate, trembled slightly. The fate of 10 deaths without life unexpectedly underwent a strange change, and the glimmer of vitality that should have existed in the past unexpectedly moved to the present. If it were someone else, I would inevitably hesitate a bit and let this glimmer of vitality pass by. However, since I have been practicing magic, my mind has been incredibly resilient and there is no further delay. According to the calculated vitality of the Tianzhu, I have given up 2 magic door treasures and the ultimate supreme body of the heavenly demon in Lidao, only rushing out the elemental spirit and integrating it with the Tianzhu. At this time, Yuzhanjun, the capital of Mount Taishan, one of the 7 real princes, also gave up the fruits of hundreds of years of hard work to fly out thousands of golden lotus flowers and thousands of sky lamps into the sky to increase their power. The devil Liguang Qi suddenly shook. Without my control, it flew up to encircle the Taoist fruit of the governor of Mount Taishan. Daomen Jinjuan's Daogua and Momin Jibao were pulled by Qi, and a colorless halo suddenly appeared around this Momin Jibao. 1,000 golden lotus flowers and 1,000 sky lanterns are like a key, unlocking the last magical use of the heavenly demon light-leaving ruler. Even though I have already been promoted to the position of the supreme heavenly demon fruit, my demonic heart is unpredictable, and I cannot help but feel a mix of surprise and joy at this moment. The vitality deduced by Yan Tianzhu is in the past, not in the future. I always thought that I would die without life. But when the Taoist fruit of Mount Taishan Governor Zhenjun turned on the last magic of the devil Liguang ruler, I knew why Yan Tianzhu's prediction would have such a glimmer of vitality. The demon gate has always been said to have the magic of traveling through the past and future with the heavenly demon leaving Lightfoot, but it is only today that it has been confirmed that it requires the guidance of a true master of a certain Taoist sect to unlock this final magical effect. Although the last magic function of the demon light-free ruler is open, it is not powerful enough. If the Mount Taishan Emperor Yuzhan can go further and enter the legendary fairyland, he can completely open the last magic function of the demon light-free ruler, but his cultivation is not enough to support this magic treasure to start a shuttle between the past and the future. I turned my heart horizontally, my demonic body turned into 10,000 zhang, my life shattered, and my endless hatred and demonic light erupted into the power to push away the colorless aperture. I have worked hard for hundreds of years to cultivate the supreme demon's true body. How powerful is it? The breaking of the 10,000 zhang demon body unleashes a demonic light that is enough to destroy hundreds of thousands of miles of mountains, rivers, and all sentient beings. Driven by the majestic light of the lichen demon, a little black light finally emerged at the core of the colorless aperture. I drove the Tianzhu without hesitation through the colorless aperture and through in that pure darkness. Unlimited heavenly robbery saber and soldier, scatter with a loud bang in the next moment. The chaotic air masses transformed by the heavenly calamity also dissipated in an instant, and the sky regained its clarity and clarity for thousands of miles. The great freedom heavenly demon flag and heavenly demon leaving light foot paused slightly, each soaring into the sky without a trace. The 7 great true sovereigns didn't know how such a change could have occurred. They each frowned and calculated for a while, and Tai Su Miao Guang true sovereigns exclaimed, "This demon has countless lives. It should have been transformed by the heavenly calamity, but his magical power is so powerful that he can even cross the 8 heavenly calamities without any trouble. He shouldn't have been so easily killed. This change is too strange." Qingshu Yuan Miaoxinjuan shook his head and said, "My calculation is also the same. This demon will have an absolute fate in the future, with 10 deaths and no life." The other 5 true lords each silently calculated for a moment, nodding their heads one after another. Tai Su Miao Guang sighed and said, "We have all calculated that this demon's fate is extremely great. There shouldn't be any mistake. It seems that the outcome of this matter is certain, but we don't know the reason behind it." The 7 true kings each slightly arched their hands and melted away, without paying attention to the 10,000 demons hall below. End of this chapter. 2, Chapter 2, Level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. 1 sword slashes through the 9 heavens, level, Daomen 9 realms. Refining Qi, fetal element, heavenly gang, Dian, golden pill, Yang Zhen, Tai Yi, transforming Tao, and robbing immortals. Qi refining. Refining the 8 extraordinary meridians and the 12 orthodox meridians, integrating internal and external skills, achieving mixed results, commonly known as the master of martial arts in the world fetal element. Changes in life form, ability to breathe, entering the innate world, and the ultimate martial arts. Tian Gang. Refining vigorous Qi, wielding swords with 100 steps, exhaling and flying pills, controlling Qi in the air, similar to gliding wings, unable to fly for a long time, drawing talismans and holding mantras, subduing demons and ghosts, commonly known as swordsmen in the world. The 5 Yin demons, 6 desire demons, and Changxing Jia of the demon sect are all in this realm, Dian. He combines his body and sword, flies and escapes with his sword, enters and exits the underworld, wields thunder, burns pills and refines treasures. He is recognized as a sword immortal by the secular world and practitioners Jin Dan. A sect leader who can develop a powerful hand and capture flying sword treasures from the air Yang Zhen. Immortal, great immortal, primordial spirit, immortal Qi, divine light, Buddha light Tai. Immortal body, immortal spirit, various forms of Dharma, external embodiment, divine beast and immortal bird Dharma body, heavenly magic body Hua Dao. Dao Jun, refining Dao fruits Jie Xian. There are 5 levels in total, from low to high. Star Lord, Purple Mansion Immortal, Hunyuan Gold Immortal, Elephant Emperor, Daoji. The realm of primordial birth is divided into 4 levels. Fetal element is also congenital element is also fetal element. But strictly speaking, it should be called entering the innate world through martial arts and entering the fetal element through the Tao. The innate 4 realms of the martial arts family are: initial level, entering micro level, transforming intention, and ultimate spirit. The 4 realms of entering the primordial realm are: embracing the primordial, guarding the truth, observing the appearance, and breaking through delusions. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. S20 Ultra Flying Sword Network First Unpacking Review, Original. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. S20 Ultra Flying Sword Network First Unpacking Review, Original Copy. Hello everyone, I am your favorite Tang Sansaw. A young man with a shaved head, looking a bit rough and mischievous, dressed in the latest swordsman suit, is greeting the camera with an exaggerated posture. Today we are going to evaluate Dang 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 Burning Series S20 Ultra Flying Sword. Our video is definitely an unboxing review of the S20 Ultra Flying Sword series for the first time online. The Ran series has launched 3 flying swords this time. The short dagger S20, the regular S20 Plus, and the extended S20 Ultra. This time I received the S20 Ultra flying sword, which is also the top flagship model of the Burning Home generation. Just in time to compare and evaluate it with the flagship version of the Emei 30 series, which was released earlier, and the top-of-the-line version of the Invisible series flying sword produced by De Shan. Firstly, it should be said that these 3 flying swords are all the latest and top-of-the-line flying swords of this year. The branded driving rune array is the latest 7nm micro-carved Jiang Zia 865 from Kunlun Mountain Yushu Palace, with strong performance and impeccable. Let's open the box first. Everyone, take a look at the camera. This is the latest design of the S20 Ultra series sword handle. Many people don't understand. Do flying swords still require a sword handle? I happen to use this review to promote the importance of sword handles to everyone. First of all, let's take a look at this Burning S20 Ultra, which features a sword box packaging and accessories such as a jade pendant with a simple identification process. It also comes with 2 sword moves, one for long-distance flight and the other for a combat-like flying dragon in the sky. I still suggest it. It's best for everyone to use our own mental technique. These 2 sword techniques cannot be said to be very poor, but they are too ordinary and easy to be targeted. It doesn't matter if you travel thousands of miles in a blink of an eye on a long journey, but it's not recommended for everyone to equip them. What should you do if you are restrained by someone during a battle? It's a matter of life and death, so don't be careless. Everyone must remember my suggestion. This S20 Ultra sword hilt comes with 5 swordsmanship slots. Look, as long as you simply install the jade pupil on the hilt, you can use the flying sword. If you don't have the hilt, where will your sword moves be installed? It's been 3030 years, and some foolish losers will work hard to practice swordsmanship on their own. Can anyone still not understand the importance of the sword hilt? Now let's launch this flying sword for the first time. You see, the sword light of the Burning S20 Ultra is relatively simple. My mouth is charm blue, with a soft and non-dazzling light, which is a classic color scheme of the Burning family. Where's the other flying sword in my hand? It's the flagship version of the Emei 30 series, which is relatively fashionable. They use the latest rainbow sword light, which can constantly change colors, with a color gamut of up to 12%, and can change 219,000 different light colors. It's really cool. Yes, it's just a slut. So each generation of the Emei series flying swords claims to be the best in the world. This generation's Emei flagship version is even more known as coquettish in the midst of coquettishness. Isn't it a good opportunity to match my martial arts nickname, Sansa. Let's take a look at the Invisible series of flying swords produced by De Shan. What about this flying sword? I took advantage of the discount promotion at the world's first magic conference to get it. Originally, its price was the most expensive among the 3 top flagship flying swords this year due to its invisible design, but after the discount promotion, it was almost the same as the price of the S20 Ultra, and a small magic tool was also included in the packaging as a gift. This tool, called the 8-tone fork, does not require recognition of the owner, but can be manipulated with simple techniques. The sound quality of the 8-tone fork is good, but it is not intended for people to listen to music or songs. Oh, it's their specialty to have everyone bring their own BGM when they come on stage. Every time I receive this kind of gift, it's a gift, and I really don't need it. Brother is not someone who likes to bring their own BGM. Not to mention the flying swords of Dio Mountain. Their flying swords are all known for their invisible design and no-handle design. I don't really care about this design because they don't really have a handle, but hide the handle inside the sword body. Due to imperfect technology, there is still a missing handle, about 3 centimeters long, exposed outside. Due to this design, the flying sword of De Mountain can only carry 1 jade pupil sword, and the swordsmanship changes greatly depending on the user's cultivation. Alright. Let's continue talking about the burning S20 Ultra. Its charm blue this year is a bit brighter and lighter than last year. The official statement from the Star Moon sect, who produces the burning series, is that it has added the element of star sand to better resist the nine heavens wind. Let me try the most basic Imperial sword first. The sensation of holding this Flame S20 Ultra is very comfortable. Although it is an extended model, it is even lighter than the regular version of the Emei 20 series. The smelting technology of the Star Moon sect is unparalleled and truly deserves its reputation. I'm going to start wielding swords. Walking. Chao Yenue completed the final shot and issued a secret signal. The photographer turned off the camera and completed the filming of the evaluation video. Without the camera, Tang Sansa, who was a bit mischievous, and had exaggerated behavior, disappeared, leaving only the tired little social animal Chao. Chao Yenue graduated from the sword refining department of Kunlun Sword Immortal Academy, and is also known as a top-tier scholar. Top-notch Sword Immortal Academy. Top-tier departments. Back then, he was also full of energy, thinking that he was bound to make a great achievement. After entering society and being beaten by reality for several years, Chao Yenue has learned how to honestly fulfill the role of a fairy tale social animal. As a flying sword review internet celebrity promoted by a new media company, his life is almost entirely occupied by various trivial tasks such as unboxing, comparative evaluation, trial experience, and even collecting money to slander competitors' products. Just now, it was still the focus of the camera, but now all the staff are busy tidying up the equipment, and no one is paying attention to him anymore. Chao Yenue seems to have been abandoned by the whole world. In reality, the social animal Xiao Chao is not as beautiful as the Tang family 3 saw in the camera. He doesn't care either, this is life. No one has always been in everyone's sight, always in the spotlight, not even those real big stars, let alone a small internet celebrity in the 18th tier. After work, should Chao go and have a late-night snack? Chao Yenue smiled and declined his colleague's invitation, saying, "I've been feeling my heart beating so hard these days. I'd better go back and rest for a while to avoid delaying tomorrow's work." He has learned how to politely refuse gatherings with colleagues, which are meaningless meals and often tiring. No one continued to invite him, and no one even joked or cared about his health. After about a while, there were no more people in the entire filming venue, only Chao Yen and himself were left. He had no intention of staying any longer and took out the 4th generation of the De O Shan Invisible series, which had been in use for 9 years, from his ear. He calmly stepped onto the flying sword, slightly adjusted its true chi talisman array, and quietly left the filming site. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei. Wang Chong leaped up, sweating profusely on his forehead. After 15 minutes, he hesitated and opened his palm. A transparent bead, dripping and spinning in the palm of the hand. If you take a close look, you will find that this pearl is a heaven and earth of its own, with not only brilliant clouds and clear clouds, but also mountains, rivers, and all living beings, creating a magnificent spectacle. Playing the heavenly pearl. Did it help me withstand the divine power of returning to the fairy mirror? Wang Chong went out of the demon gate to support the Tianqin temple. He is the most outstanding disciple of the Tianqin temple in the hundreds of years since its establishment, and also the only disciple in the past century who has cultivated the Dora consciousness and the Dulv consciousness in the 5 consciousnesses magic scroll of the Tianqin temple. The Tianqin temple is an external realm of the demon sect, but the 5 consciousnesses demon scroll, passed down within the sect, is the authentic heavenly demon sect, originating from the Heavenly Demon Transformation Classic of the Demon Extreme sect. The magical powers of the heavenly demons 5 consciousnesses cultivated are unparalleled. The cultivation of the Dora consciousness in the heavenly demons' 5 consciousnesses and divine tongues can lead to 1,000 changes in Qi phase, disillusionment cultivation. A body of true Qi can not only freely change its nature, but also allow for the free transformation of martial arts between existence and non-existence. By cultivating one's understanding of laws and regulations, one can not only capture the soul, but also manipulate one's own memory by shifting one's perception and meaning. Since the founding of the Tianqin Temple, the founder of the Tianqin Taoist sect, only 2 people have cultivated the 5 consciousnesses of the heavenly demon for hundreds of years. One is the Heavenly Heart Taoist, who has cultivated the ultimate consciousness and is capable of communicating yin and yang, reversing death and life. The other one is Fu Tuo Shangren, the 4th disciple of the Tianqin Taoist, who was also the ancestor of Wang Chong. He cultivated the wavy consciousness and was able to identify various objects and dissociate the essence. Wang Chong is the 3rd genius to cultivate the heavenly demon consciousness since the establishment of the Tianqin Temple, and even surpasses 2 ancestors. He is the 1st disciple of the Tianqin Temple to cultivate 2 types of heavenly demon consciousness. Wang Chong became the Dora consciousness and the DLV consciousness of the 5 consciousnesses, and the Tianqin Temple was overjoyed. Several elders conspired for several days to fabricate an identity for him, and he was sent to the Emei sect in an attempt to steal the superior Taoist teachings of the sect. So, Wang Chong is currently not in Tianqin Temple, but in the 5-spirit immortals mansion of Emei sect. The identity forged by Tianqin Temple for him was that of a young master from an official family, named Tang Jingyu. Before the age of 10, this young master Tang Jingyu had no worries about food and clothing. Apart from listening to his master's teachings in school and working hard for the imperial examination in the future, he had nothing to worry about every day. At the age of 10, Tang Jingyu's father suddenly fell seriously ill and passed away. His stepmother didn't treat him much and scolded him every day, beating him up every 3 days and eating 3 or 4 meals in 5 days. He lived like a pig or a dog, living like a dog. Tang Jingyu deeply felt that he might not live to grow up if he continued like this, so he took advantage of his stepmother's lack of attention and ran out of the house. This young master Tang Jingyu, after all, is young. When he escaped from his home, he also forgot to steal some silver. He had no possessions and had little ability other than reading, so he had to become a little beggar and lived aimlessly for several months. Until one day, he met a Taoist who claimed to be a smoker and said that he had good qualifications and could learn Taoism from him. This young master Tang Jingyu, in order to have enough to eat, naturally enjoyed learning from his master and became a little Taoist along with his new master, the Yendao people. Tang Jingyu's master, Yendao Ren, has a considerable background, but he is a named disciple of Tianqin Temple. Tianqin Temple wanted to send Wang Chong to the Emei sect, so they approached the Yendao person and asked him to kill Tang Jingyu. They replaced him with Wang Chong and taught the Yendao person a technique of harming others and oneself. They had to extract living souls to refine the demon technique as a reward. The smoker didn't know exactly. He thought he was valued by the sect and, under the intentional guidance of the Tianqin Temple, went out to capture boys and girls. Surprisingly, he caught a female disciple of the Emei sect who had just started her apprenticeship. This attracted the elders of the Emei sect to come knocking on him, beheading him with a flying sword on the spot, and then using lightning techniques to shatter his soul. Wang Chong and the other disciple of the smoker were both well-behaved and dared not resist several righteous immortals. They immediately knelt down and cried to the sword immortals of the Emei sect. Their own martial brothers were also kidnapped, and they were not really evil-minded. They were willing to worship such evil masters and learn the method of harming others. The Emei sect is a legitimate sect and it is not easy to indiscriminately kill innocent people. Several elders of the Emei sect asked about their identities and found out that they could not be taken home. They were unable to handle it for a while, so they took them to Mount Emei without hesitation. The people of Tianqin Temple rely on the ability of Duoluo consciousness to change true Qi, conceal Wang Chong's demonic martial arts, resist legal consciousness to tamper with memories, and are not afraid of soul-searching spells. If the elders of Emei sect are careless for a moment, they can let this young disciple pass the test. If discovered, losing one disciple would also result in loss. Anyway, it does not harm the foundation of Tianqin Temple, and the people in the demon sect do not care about human life. When Wang Chong was brought into the five-spirit immortal mansion, the high-hanging mirror outside the immortal mansion suddenly emitted 100 zhang golden light, illuminating him completely. The return to the immortal mirror is a rare treasure of the immortal mansion and the first magic weapon of the Emei sect. It has infinite magical effects. It can not only illuminate the past and future, but also the past and present. However, it consumes a lot of magic power to activate this treasure of the immortal mansion, and the elders of the Emei sect would not easily use it. At that time, Wang Chong felt a chill in his heart. Although Tianqin Guan's 5 Consciousness Demon Scroll was infinitely useful and not afraid of being scrutinized by others, it could even withstand the soul-searching spells of the elders of the Emei sect. However, it could definitely not resist the treasures of the Immortal Palace, such as the return to the Immortal Mirror. Wang Chong originally thought he was definitely doomed, but for some reason, the golden light of the Return Immortal Mirror reached his body, and he had an extra bead in his palm, creating endless changes. Surprisingly, it resisted the great power of the Return Immortal Mirror and only revealed Tang Jingyu's past. The elders of the Emei sect saw that his family was indeed innocent and his background was tragic. Several of them felt sympathy for him, so they temporarily took him and another disciple of the smoker. Although Wang Chong has been living in the five-spirit immortals mansion for more than 10 days, every time he thinks of that moment, he can't help but break out in a cold sweat, and even wake up from his sleep. If his identity is exposed, he will definitely not escape the fate of being beheaded by the Emei sword immortal flying sword. He may even have his soul shattered, and there will be no chance of reincarnation. The appearance of Tianzhu is inexplicable. There are 16 vast oceans in the 9 continents of the world, which can withstand the treasures of the immortal mansion and the immortal mirror. You can count them with your fingers, but there are only a few dozen of them. Among the top sects in the world, Tianqin Temple definitely does not have such a level of magic weapon. The Tianqin Temple, a branch of the demon sect, has weak strength. Even if there is such a powerful treasure, it will be snatched by someone. Even if it's not good enough, he must be carefully preserved by the elders in the sect, not letting anyone know. It's impossible for him, a younger disciple, to bring him into Emei. It's almost like gifting treasures to the Emei sect. When Yen Tianzhu appeared in the palm of Wang Chong's hand, he also passed on a strange magic technique called Yen Tianshu, which seemed to be the method for refining Yen Tianzhu. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 2. Wang Chong has secretly practiced for more than 10 days and has reluctantly practiced the first-level prohibition of the Heavenly Pearl. He can slightly manipulate this magic weapon. As he gained some understanding of playing Tianzhu, he became even more confused. This magic weapon seemed to be used for fortune-telling and fortune-telling. Any martial artist in the martial arts world has 1 or 2 treasures of this kind, which cannot be considered precious, let alone resist the divine power of returning the fairy mirror. Forget it. Wang Chong comforted himself and muttered to himself, anyway, he has already infiltrated the Emei sect. It's useless to think too much. It's better to think about how to steal the superior Taoist techniques of the Emei sect and go back to the sect to teach. With a gentle retraction of Wang Chongwu's fingers, the Tianzhu transformed into a cool and energetic energy, infiltrating his body along the meridians. He wandered aimlessly through the meridians, dispelling various doubts, and began to contemplate how to operate in the fundamental place of the Emei sect, the five-spirit immortals mansion. The elders of the Emei sect killed the Yendao people and brought Wang Chong and another disciple of the Yendao people, Yu Yuanzuan, to the five-spirit immortals mansion. Yu Yuanzuan's background is even more pitiful than Wang Chong's. His ancestors were still a well-known and upright official who was corrupted by corrupt officials. His whole family was raided, and he was the only one who was taken away by an old servant, leaving behind a seedling for the Yu family. Because both of them have similar backgrounds, several elders of Emei have had several different opinions and disputes. If it's an outsider, a demon sect or an evil sect, exterminating other sects or killing important enemies, it's convenient for ordinary disciples to handle it. They either kill it casually or choose whether it's suitable, extract soul sacrificial treasures for refining, or randomly take in a child who does miscellaneous work, as they please. But Emei sect is a legitimate sect that emphasizes heavenly principles and virtues. There are many rules in the sect, and they are the most stable in their work, emphasizing benevolence, kindness, and generosity. The Xuanxia Taoist and Xuanhe Taoist, who are most jealous of evil as enemies, only intend to let them live and die on their own. At most, they only suggest to abolish the magic power they have cultivated under the evil master, so that they will not rely on several spells to become evil after they come down the mountain. Some people also think that their qualifications are not bad, and their background is innocent and quite pitiful. If they were to be admitted to the Emei sect, as long as they are carefully taught, it would not be difficult to rectify the situation and become warriors who eliminate demons and defend the way. There are also several elders who feel that the Emei sect should not be so lenient in accepting disciples. They want to send them to overseas scattered immortals as disciples, which can be considered a complete achievement. The Emei sect happens to have another very important matter that requires several elders to do together. Dealing with the two of them is not a big deal, and the elders did not have a dispute, so they all set off to work overseas. The future of Wang Chong and Yu Yuanzuan will only be discussed after the elders return from overseas. Wang Chong looked out at the small stone cave, which was the temporary residence given to him by the Emei sect. There was a faint light at the entrance of the cave, which was a protective forbidden law that could see through the outside, but it did not allow wind and rain to enter, and could also isolate him from the cold and heat. It was outside, but even the slightest raindrop or wind couldn't penetrate the cave, which shows the beauty of the subtle light prohibition technique. Even though the wind and rain were sudden, it was not as chaotic as Wang Chong's current state of mind. He secretly thought to himself, Master Fu Tuoshang, an old man who mentioned to me that the ancestor of the Emei sect, Yin Dingxiu, had been practicing for 1,300 years and was known as the first person in the Xianmen sect. This person has a deep fortune, not only obtaining countless treasures, but also personally refining 19 flying swords, and his swordsmanship is known as the best in the world. Not long ago, Yin Dingxiu suddenly rose in the daytime, leaving behind a group of young disciples who have not yet become the climate to guard a considerable family business. Everyone is eyeing him. Our Tianqin temple is just a side branch of the demon sect, and the sect is small and weak. Getting a little benefit is enough to strengthen one's family, so I was sent to join the Emei sect and steal the true teachings of the Emei sect. However, in order to learn the superior Taoist techniques of the Emei sect, I need to gain the favor of the elders of the Emei sect and accept me as an apprentice. How can I make the elders of the Emei sect willing to accept me as an apprentice? Wang Chongjing pondered for a moment when the hidden Tianzhu in his meridians suddenly jumped, and a cool aura filled his eyebrows. He only felt the eyebrows twitch a few times, and when he closed his eyes slightly, he saw a painting unfolding in the void. This painting depicts mountains and water, caves and streams, various exotic flowers and plants, and various steep peaks and rocks, giving the young man an unusually familiar feeling. Wang Chong compared the various scenes in his memory slightly, and his heart was suddenly shocked. He called out to himself, "Isn't this picture scroll the map of the 5-spirit immortals mansion of the Emei sect?" The scenery on the painting is tangible and subtle, lifelike, with scattered peaks and streams, as if the mountains and rivers of Emei had been reduced by 1,000 times in their original form, turning them into a vast world that entered his mind. In the picture scroll, there are dozens of caves, streams, and streams in the 5-spirit immortals mansion of Emei, with each mountain and water shining brightly into the sky. Wang Chong focused his consciousness on the gate of the five spirit immortals' mansion, where the glow was at its peak. In the midst of the glow, a treasure appeared, with an ancient and simple shape and a rough decoration. It was the Huixian mirror of the Emei sect Shenpai. When he paid attention to the Huixian mirror, some words appeared in the painting. Huixian mirror is a rare treasure of the immortal mansion, the first magic weapon of the Emei sect, with infinite magical effects. It can not only reflect the presence of demonic energy, but also reflect the past and future, past and present. At this time, there is no owner, but the treasure has a spirit and cannot be moved lightly. Wang Chong's heart was shocked, and he shifted his consciousness slightly to the center of the five spirit immortals' mansion. A verdant mountain peak floated in the air, with a majestic momentum and towering clouds. Another line of text appeared in the painting. Tsuebi Peak is the hub of the Qianyuan Shumi Golden Light Formation in the Two Realms, guarding the mountain gate of the five spirit immortals' mansion in Emei. It is the most secret treasure of the Emei sect and the head of the Xuanda Taoist. This treasure was refined by the Yin Dingxiu ancestor through thousands of years of hard work and the five spirit immortal mansion. It can be pulled and moved all over the body. Without the cultivation level of the true Lord, even with the technique of breaking the formation, it cannot succeed. Inside, there are 19 of the most powerful treasures refined by the Yin Dingxiu ancestor in his lifetime, 7 invisible immortal swords, as well as the Emei sect Shenpai scriptures, Tai Ching Baolu, and half-volume, Zifu Zhenjuan, as well as 28 volumes of various sect scriptures collected by the Emei sect. Only then did Wang Chong realize that the place where the rosy light gathered on the scroll was a hidden treasure of Emei. He hastily opened his eyes, but all the scenery disappeared. The young man was shocked and couldn't bear it. He opened and closed his eyes several times before confirming that the painting was in his mind, only he could see it himself, but not in reality. Wang Chong pressed down his heart in shock and fear, thinking to himself, what's going on here? Why can the Tianzhu reflect the secret map of the five spirit immortals mansion of the Emei sect, and still know what kind of private property the Emei sect has? The record is so clear. My Tianqin temple is just a branch of the demon sect, and the cultivation level of Master Fu Tua is only at the level of the six desires demon. How could there be such a magic weapon? Under the stirring mood of Wang Chong, he couldn't help but leak some breath. He was startled and quickly adjusted his true qi to avoid leaking out his cultivation of Tianqin temple. P.S. New book upload, seeking collection, recommendation, investment, tipping. Also, please subscribe to Full.Time Martial Gods and Immortal Gourds. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 3. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 6 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 3. In the fundamental place of the Emei sect, the roots of the disciples of Tianqin Temple have been exposed, and the consequences are unimaginable. Wang Chong pondered hard while secretly touching the various treasures marked on this painting. After a while, the young man couldn't help but feel his heart pounding. He thought to himself, there are several treasures on the scroll that are marked as ownerless. Putting aside treasures like the fairy mirror, other treasures may not fall into my hands. Wang Chong sneaked into Emei to obey the orders of his sect and steal the superior Taoist techniques of Emei. Since there is such a good opportunity to steal treasures from Emei, how could he remain unmoved? Anyway, as soon as he takes something and runs away, there will naturally be elders from Tianqin Temple helping to tidy up the rest. Wang Chong couldn't bear to speculate on the supernatural aspects of the Tianzhu, so he closed his eyes and walked several times upstream of the scroll before finally focusing on a secret path in the back cave of the five spirit immortals mansion. This secret path hides a Yuanyang sword. One of the 19 flying swords refined by the Yin Dingxiu ancestor throughout his life. The description of this treasure on the picture scroll is extremely strange. Due to the hasty ascent of the Yin Dingxiu ancestor, many things have not been explained in time. Therefore, even the elders of Emei did not know that there was a secret path behind the five spirit immortals mansion, which could pass through the mountain and come out of the thunder cave at the other end, let alone that there was a yuanyang sword hidden here. Yin Dingxiu, an old Taoist, engraved his own yuanyang sword technique and 12 forms of yuanyang sword technique on the sword box. He originally intended to pass it on to all who were destined, but he didn't expect that human calculation is not as good as heavenly calculation. 3 years later, a demon named Gupeng stole into Emei and defiled the sealed spell. The yuanyang sword was born early, shattering its sword box and flying away, causing the sword technique to be lost. Wang Chong repeated it silently several times, but there was always a doubt in his heart. He couldn't figure out why Yan Tianzhu could know about the next 3 years and calculate the past and future that even Yin Dingxiu ancestor couldn't figure out. You should know that the title of the first person in the Yin Dingxiu sect is not for nothing. This person not only has invincible spells, but is particularly skilled in innate divine numbers. When Yin Dingxiu first practiced, his cultivation level had not yet reached the level of the first person in the later Xianmen, but he could always rely on his innate divine ability to deduce the winner when facing enemies. Many characters whose cultivation level is on par with Yin Dingxiu, and even above him, have been overturned by this Emei ancestor due to their inability to calculate, causing confusion and causality. They have inexplicably added many failures, or were expected to be the enemy's first opportunity, borrowing a shared magic weapon in advance, practicing restraint spells, or finding the enemy's fate to hit, becoming obsessed with fire, and facing a decline in their magic power. In the end, they were defeated by him. When this Emei ancestor was in his heyday, he forced countless demon sects, evil sects, and giant monsters to shut down and seal the mountains. There is even a saying circulating among the schools of good and evil. Yin is fixed, rest is born, and all demons avoid. Extreme words speak of the majesty of this ancestor. Wang Chong always felt that this matter was too strange, not true, or true, with a feeling of being blinded by clouds and mist. However, after thinking for a long time, he gritted his teeth and left his cave in the rain. After all, the temptation of immortal swords and magical treasures is not small, especially the flying sword personally refined by Yin Dingxiu, which is famous throughout the world. It is even more outstanding than the flying swords used by ancient immortals and elders of various sections. Wang Chang's Tianqin Temple, which comes from Wang Chang's background, only has 2 flying swords, both of which are extremely inferior in quality. Therefore, they are cherished by their ancestors as treasures and are not easily displayed to others. The young man rushed straight to the back mountain of Emei in the rain, feeling a bit hot in his heart. He thought to himself, the flying sword that was personally refined by Elder Yin Dingxiu is not only of high quality, but may also have many wonderful uses that can break many spells. If I had this yuanyang sword in my hand, just because Elder Yin Dingxiu personally refined it, who would dare to compete with a slightly inferior flying sword? I will travel around the world in the future, and besides those elders with profound skills, I am not afraid of fighting with others. Although Wang Chong knew some secret rain avoidance spells, he didn't dare to use them recklessly. He let the heavy rain drench him completely, but his chest was hot and spicy, and he didn't feel cold. He broke into the back cave of the 5 spirit immortals' mansion, searched for a moment, and indeed found a mountain wall covered by vines, just like the picture scroll. Wang Chang's heart was filled with joy, and his luck pulled down the vines one by one. After half an hour, he finally discovered a dark cave entrance. Wang Chong knew he had found the secret path and was overjoyed. Without any hesitation, he rushed in the dark and secretly calculated his steps. After walking more than 2,500 steps, he began to knock on the walls of the cave on both sides. After walking more than half a mile, he finally heard the faint sound of emptiness when his fist struck. Wang Chong took out a dagger from his sleeve, which was a crude magical tool refined by the smoker on his behalf. This dagger appears to be of average quality among people in the immortal realm, but it is considered a sharp weapon at the ordinary level. Although it is not yet as easy to cut iron as mud, it is easy to carve the walls of the cave, making it a suitable tool for excavating the walls. Wang Chong dug recklessly on the cave wall for a while, but in a moment he felt his hand heavy and the dagger could no longer pierce. He reached out and slowly felt for it, his tentacles warm and smooth, and it turned out to be a jade wall pressing against the dagger. That's it. This is the sword box of Yuanyang's sword, and this immortal sword is hidden inside. After 3 years, it will undergo spiritual changes and fly out of the box, causing trouble. Wang Chong was determined and slowly used his dagger to dig around the jade wall. With a forceful pull of his fingers, a flat jade box over 3 feet long and 4 fingers wide, shimmering with a faint blue light, fell into his hand. Wang Chong dared not open the sword box, afraid that the Yuanyang sword would fly and slip away. He sat cross-legged and played with it for a while, only to suddenly find countless words on both sides of the jade box. Wang Chong, taking advantage of the faint light on the jade box, gazed intently and saw the words on the box clearly. On one side of the jade box, there are hundreds of words, which is a sword technique. On the other side, there are humanoid movements as delicate as mosquitoes and flies, which are the 12 sword techniques. After looking at it for a while, Wang Chong couldn't help but chuckle inwardly and mutter, Yindingxiu, the old Taoist, engraved his own Yuanyang sword technique and 12 forms of Yuanyang sword technique on the sword box. Unexpectedly, he didn't expect to be stolen into Emei by the demon Gupeng in the future, staining the sealed spell. The Yuanyang sword was born ahead of schedule, shattering the sword box and flying away. This sword technique would have been lost. If I hadn't taken out the Yuanyang sword in advance, no one in the world would have known this sword technique and technique. Speaking of which, Yindingxiu should still thank me. Wang Chong silently memorized and spent half an hour memorizing the Yuanyang sword technique and the 12 forms of Yuanyang sword technique. He had a great talent in the path of cultivation, otherwise he would not have completed the 5 consciousness magic scroll that only 2 ancestors could have completed since the establishment of the Tianqin temple. Wang Chongxin had already made a judgment on the power of the Yuanyang sword technique and the 12 forms of Yuanyang sword technique, and secretly praised them, saying, the Yuanyang sword technique is indeed extraordinary, and the Emei sect truly deserves to be the first in the Xianmen sword technique. P.S. New book upload, seeking collection, recommendation, investment, tipping. Also, please subscribe to Full.Time Martial Gods and Immortal Gourds. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 4. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 7 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 4. The Yuanyang sword technique ranks 3rd among the 18 sword techniques passed down by the Emei sect, second only to the invisible sword technique and the 5 fire 7 bird sword technique introduced by the Xuanji immortal from other sects into Emei, which is known as the number 1 in the Xianmen sect. Even among the legitimate swordsmanship of various schools of good and evil in the world, the Yuanyang sword technique is enough to be ranked in the top 10, making it the most superior sword technique. Practitioners holding such exquisite sword techniques are like placing the most delicious food in front of gluttonous people. Wang Chong hesitated for a moment, but couldn't bear it anymore. He used his true qi and tried to practice the Yuanyang sword technique. This sword technique is extremely domineering, and the number of cultivation paths is different from the sword techniques passed down by any sect in the world. Any cultivation method in the world must start from the Dantian to cultivate true qi. Only the Yuanyang sword technique starts from the hand 3 yang meridians, and the first meridian to be cultivated is the hand-sun small intestine meridian of the 12 Jingjing. True qi originates from Shaozi on the tip of the little finger, passes through the anterior valley, posterior stream, wrist bone, and elderly acupoint along the outer side of the palm, and originates from the styloid process of the ulna. Further along the lower edge of the ulna, pass through the Zhizheng acupoint to reach the Shaohai acupoint at the elbow, and along the outer posterior edge of the upper arm to reach the Shazhen and Zhuyu acupoints behind the shoulder joint. Twisting upwards at the scapula, passing through Tianzong, Bingfeng, Ciyuan, shoulder Waiyu, and shoulder Zhongyu, it intersects at the Dazhui acupoint. Move forward into the supraclavicular fossa, descend to connect with the heart, pass through the diaphragm along the esophagus, and reach the stomach. This is a branch of the human small intestine, which extends from the outer neck to the cheeks, to the outer canthus, and then turns into the auditory organ. It is precisely because this sword technique deviates from the norm and the flow of true qi is always in the opposite direction. Even if a true disciple of Emei wants to cultivate this sword technique, they must first master the beginner's mental method of Emei and have a mentor to guard them before they can attempt it. The Yuanyang sword technique is not a foundational skill for beginners. Even if other disciples have obtained this sword technique, they cannot practice it without practicing the Emei beginner mind technique. Wang Chong dared to take risks and try because he has the foundation of the heavenly demon Dora consciousness and is capable of changing his qi phase, achieving disillusionment and cultivation. The 5 consciousness demon scrolls of Tianqin Temple have no combat ability and are almost useless against enemies. However, the cultivated Tianma 5 consciousnesses have incredible magical uses in each one. Duoluo Shi can open the most secret orifices of heaven and earth. The orifices of heaven and earth are external orifices, both mysterious and mysterious, indescribable and indescribable. The orifices of heaven and earth are like the orifices of a human body. Once opened, one can transfer their entire body's true energy into them, leaving them without any more true energy and achieving disillusionment cultivation. The true qi that enters the orifice of heaven and earth can be returned to itself at any time, but what is returned is not the original true qi, but the most pure and without any special characteristics of heaven and earth elemental qi. The vitality of heaven and earth is the foundation of all qi, without any characteristics, but can be transformed into all true qi in the world. Practicing any kind of mental technique with the vitality of heaven and earth is like being gifted years of skill by a senior immortal. It can be achieved in one fell swoop, just like years of hard work. Wang Chong has a deep foundation in Dora consciousness, so he is not afraid of being investigated by people from the Emei sect for cultivation. He only has the side sect mental techniques passed down by the Yendao people in his body, and the shallow true qi he has refined. He does not have any demonic cultivation of the heavenly mind view. Wang Chong activated the divine powers of the heavenly demons 5 consciousnesses and activated the Duoluo consciousness to extract the true energy of the demon gate hidden in the heavenly and heavenly orifices. The demonic true energy he transferred into it had long been transformed into the most pure heaven and earth elemental energy in the orifices of heaven and earth, without any trace of true energy characteristics. If a mediocre person wants to cultivate this sword technique, even if there is a true Emei legend, it will take at least several years to get started. Wang Chong has a strong foundation and excellent talent, with the assistance of heavenly demon awareness. He holds a sword box and silently contemplates the Yuanyang sword technique. The endless energy of heaven and earth comes from Shaozi, and his little finger feels swollen, painful, itchy, numb, and dull. Half an hour later, I felt a flick of my little finger and a wisp of Yuanyang true energy was born. If Wang Chongrua still converts the elemental energy of heaven and earth into the true energy of Tianqin Temple, he can recover his cultivation in a few hours at most. However, when he converts it into Yuanyang true energy, there is only one strand, less than 1/7 or 8/8 of his original strength. He secretly savored this ray of Yuanyang true energy and couldn't help but secretly admire it. Yin Ding Xiu Lao Dao is indeed very skilled. Only in terms of the exquisite swordsmanship of this sword technique, all the Taoist techniques from the top and bottom of the Tianqin Temple combined are inferior. There is a fixed number in heaven and earth, and the true qi of the Dao and Emei families, according to their quality, has a total of 9 levels and 30.6 levels. Except for the 30.6 levels, they are all miscellaneous qi. The true qi cultivated by the demonic branch of Tianqin Temple is miscellaneous and has long surpassed the 9th and 30.6th levels, classified as the category of miscellaneous qi. However, the Yuanyang true qi is the highest level in the 7th level, ranking among the Taiyi Yuanjin. Therefore, this strand of Yuanyang true qi is actually superior to 1,000 strands of Tianqin Guan true qi. Wang Chong practiced for 2 or 3 hours, converted 1.2% of his power, opened up 3 acupoints, and passed the true qi from Shaozi acupoint, through Qiangu acupoint, and then to Hoshi acupoint. Although the Yuan Yang true qi he cultivated was only a tiny bit, it was genuine and could be considered the threshold for entering this sword technique. If Emei disciples succeed in practicing sword techniques, they will definitely receive praise from their elders. Unfortunately, Wang Chong could never let anyone know that he had secretly learned the Yuanyang sword technique and the 12 forms of Yuanyang sword technique from Emei. If not, the people of the Emei sect will not only reclaim his swordsmanship, but they may also use flying swords to behead him and prevent the leakage of sect teachings. Even if the Emei elders show temporary compassion, they will imprison him until he dies of old age and the rest of his life is lonely. Wang Chong opened his eyes slightly, but there was a faint glimmer of light. He knew that the sky was already clear. If he didn't go back, he might be discovered by the Emei disciples who brought him food. That's when he quietly took the Yuanyang sword box, left the secret path, and returned to the cave where he lived. He only came back before, and a disciple of Emei who was delivering food to him outside shouted, "Brother Tang, come and eat." Wang Chong casually threw the sword box onto the ground, kicked it under the bed, and Shi Shiran walked out with a smile, saying, "Thank you for bringing me food again. I'm really scared." The Emei disciple who came to deliver the meal was named Xiaolingshuan. He was tall and imposing, looking like a wild man, but in reality, he was both civil and military. He came from a scholarly family, and his grandfather had also served as an official in the 6 ministries in the court. His father was also a highly respected scholar. If something had not happened in his family, he would have studied hard in seclusion, preparing for the imperial examination, rather than seeking immortality and enlightenment here. Because Xiaolingshuan was also a scholar, he became familiar with Tang Jingyu, who also read poetry and literature. He had a good relationship and often talked about ancient and modern times, discussing articles. Xiaolingshuan smiled and said, "So what should we do? The elders don't allow you to walk around with Yuanzuan at will. If you don't arrange for someone to deliver food, wouldn't it be like starving you all? Our Emei sect can't do such a thing." Wang Chong took the opportunity and said, "I don't know if I have the opportunity to join the gate wall of the Emei sect and practice the highest level of Taoism like Brother Xie." "Stop speaking." Wang Chong sighed slightly and took the food box brought by Xiaolingshuan. P.S. New book upload, seeking collection, recommendation, investment, tips. Also, please subscribe to Full.Time Martial God and Immortal Hu. Thank you to the authors Hong Yuan and Huan Yu, 2 alliance leaders. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, v. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Chapter 8 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, v. Xiaolingshuan is also unable. He has only been apprenticed for a short time, and has not even been able to pass on the Taoist techniques of the Emei sect. He has only been taught some martial arts skills that can be used to beat bones and muscles. He can only offer kind words of comfort, saying, "You and Yuanzuan have good qualifications and poor backgrounds. Although you studied under an evil sect, you were forced to do nothing wrong. I heard from Sister Emo Yinling that she was captured by your evil master, and it was thanks to your persuasion that she was not immediately killed. In fact, you have done many good things, and the elders will not fail to see." Wang Chong chuckled and said to himself, "The concept of good and evil in the Emei sect is severe. If it weren't for the most difficult situation in the 5 spirit immortals mansion at this time, where would there have been any disputes? We would have been sent down the mountain long ago, and maybe we could have erased our memories, lost our magic, and avoid causing trouble to ordinary people." However, he wouldn't have told Xiaolingshuan about these things. Wang Chong chatted with Xiaolingshuan for a while before carrying a food box back to the cave. The diet of the Emei sect tends to be light. Although it cannot be avoided eating meat, it only has 1 or 2 pieces of lean meat. It is still steamed without adding fat, and although it tastes refreshing, the amount is small, leaving only vegetables and vegetables. Wang Chongqiao hastily swept away all the food he had eaten, knowing that it would only be in the afternoon before Xiaoling Xuan would come back to deliver the meal. He also took away the food box and sat cross-legged to start practicing the Yuanyang sword technique. In the Emei sect, there are usually 2 meals a day, divided into breakfast and dinner. Noon is a good time for cultivation, so there is no food to eat. Wang Chongyi's hard work in the afternoon transformed half of his Yuanyang true energy and opened up his retirement acupoint. Yuanyang true energy wandered through various acupoints, becoming slightly more lively. After Wang Chong's dinner, he had planned to practice again, but he didn't expect Yu Yuanzun to bring in a 7 or 8-year-old boy without saying hello outside the cave, which was very reckless. After he entered, he first frowned and looked at Wang Chong before introducing him. This is Emei Huer, the younger brother of senior sister Emei Yinling. He found an excellent place to play. How about we go and see the excitement together? Wang Chong declined and said, it's already a great blessing that we can stay in the 5 Spirit Immortals mansion for a few days. They don't allow us to wander around, so why break the rules of the immortal family? Moreover, even if there is any excitement, it's not worth offending the immortals for it. Yu Yuanzun smiled and said, it's not that we went there without permission. Huer is leading the way. Besides, the immortal family is all generous, where are accountants like these? Go and go quickly, don't let anyone know. Wang Chong looked down upon Yu Yuanzun. When he was under the tutelage of the Yendao people, he knew that although this guy had some calculations, he was childish and tight, and there was more to success than defeat. He thought to himself, even if I don't follow him, if Yu Yuanzun causes trouble, I'm afraid it will still affect me. I'll try to dispel his thoughts. When I learn the Yuanyang sword technique and gain the recognition of the Yuanyang sword, whether I successfully join the Emei sect or take this sword and quietly go far away. It's vast, and there's no need to care about him. Thinking of this, Wang Chong pretended to be hesitant, but Emei Huer couldn't hold back and said, if you don't want to go, I won't take you with me. This kind of fun place, if it weren't for the sake of senior brother Yu's face, I would be willing to let go. Otherwise, there would be no place for you. Wang Chong pretended to be forced and reluctantly agreed, let's go with you. As the 3 of them walked out, Yu Yuanzun deliberately fell behind half a step and stood side by side with Wang Chong, lowering his voice and saying, I have a great advantage. Unless it's for the sake of our fellow disciples playing together, I won't take care of you. When the time comes, everything will be at my command. Wang Chong glanced at Emei Huer, who was leading the way without any notice, and couldn't help but sigh slightly. Emei Huer is not actually a disciple of Emei, and his sister is only a named disciple who has not yet officially joined the Emei sect. Although this kid is only 8 years old, his temperament is extremely arrogant. When his siblings were rescued into the 5 Spirit Immortals mansion, they self-proclaimed themselves as members of the Emei sect and looked down upon Wang Chong and Yu Yuanzun. Emei Huer's temperament is bound to cause trouble sooner or later. Although Wang Chong doesn't like this kid very much, he knows that even if he persuades him, he may not be willing to listen. Perhaps it will only increase his disgust and he is too lazy to bother with that matter. Under the leadership of Emei Huer, the 3 quickly arrived at the foot of a small mountain peak in the 5 Spirit Immortals mansion. This small mountain peak is emerald green, like crystal jade. It is a magic weapon that was refined by the founder of Yindingxiu to suppress the 5 Spirit Immortals mansion. It is called the 5 Spirit Chui by Peak and is also the operational hub of the 5 Spirit Immortals mansion guardian formation. This treasure is extremely important, so any Emei disciple is warned not to come here easily. Emei Huer reached out and pointed to the Wuling Tsuebi peak, shouting, this mountain has a cardinal. With just a gentle twist, you can take care of the surrounding territory for thousands of miles. It's extremely fun. Let me demonstrate it to you later. Wang Chong trembled slightly and quickly stopped, saying, when we came up the mountain, we were already warned not to enter this place lightly. You just came here to play, and even tampered with the hub of the five-spirit immortals mansion. This crime is too heavy, so let's quickly dispel the thought. Emei shouted arrogantly, I brought my brother-in-law to play on my own. Where do you belong? If you don't like it, just leave. I warn you, young master. If you reveal this matter, I will definitely not rest with you. Before Emei could finish speaking, Wang Chong had already raised his breath and shouted, Emei, if you dare to tamper with the Wuling Tsuebi Peak without permission, the whole Emei sect will definitely not spare you. It's better to stop now. Although Wang Chong wanted to cover up his background and couldn't use any spells, his breath was full of vitality. This time, he raised his breath and shouted out, fearing that it wouldn't impress anyone. He exerted all his strength and immediately suppressed the clouds. Emei's face changed greatly. How could he not know that this matter was quite taboo? But this little bear child has long regarded himself as a member of the Emei sect, thinking that there should be no taboos in the five-spirit immortals mansion, just like at home. At the moment, his small face was gloomy and became unusually terrifying. He gritted his teeth and muttered, even if you attract people, let's see if they believe me or you. Those who don't know what to do are different from brother you. Sooner or later, they will drive you away from the Emei sect. Our Emei sect doesn't keep such inconspicuous people. Wang Chong shouted and drank 7 or 8 times before finally alerting the people of the Emei sect. 6 or 7 paths of aura took off in the distance, and with a slight twist, they flew towards the direction of the five-spirit Tsuebi Peak. In an instant, 6 or 7 young men and women fell down one by one, each with immortal roots and Taoist bones, with a demeanor of Tsinghua University, each with a strange aura lingering around. Their bodies were also adorned with magnificent clouds and robes. The young man led by him glared angrily and shouted, the elders in the sect have long said that no one should come here easily. Why do you 3 dare to come over despite the rules of Emei? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 6. Emei immediately rushed to say, Brother Yu Yuanzuan and I saw Tang Jingyu being sneaky, so we followed behind him and wanted to see what he was planning to do. We didn't expect him to discover us, and he actually turned the tables on us, saying we were going to tamper with the Wuling Tsuebi Peak. This treasure is the hub of the Wuling Immortal Mansion. Who dares to touch him? This person lies to such an extent, and his nature is really despicable. Brother Lu Zhen, you have to make decisions for me. The young man led by him furrowed his brows slightly as he was about to speak. Wang Chong chuckled inwardly and said to himself, Emei's ability to make a fool of himself is not bad at his age, but how could it harm me? But this is also an opportunity, and it happens to distance himself from the two of them. Wang Chong looked angry and pointed at Yu Yuanzuan, saying, You junior brother. You are also a party involved. Who led us to move this five-spirit emerald peak, and even said that he could manipulate this object to observe the surrounding territory for thousands of miles. It's so fun, he wants to demonstrate it to us. Whether it was bullying Emei or Yu Yuanzuan, Wang Chong didn't know that the five-spirit Chui Bai Peak was owned by someone, so he tricked the two of them into entering the jar. Yu Yuanzuan hesitated slightly and glanced at Emei before slowly saying, Although I used to be a junior brother with Tang Jingyu and have a slightly close relationship, he did a bad job in this matter. You still have to admit your mistake to Lu Xiantong. Wang Chong laughed and didn't speak anymore, just making a gesture of anger in his eyes. Lu Lingji, also known as Lu Zhen, is one of the 4 major disciples of the Emei sect for 3 generations. Nowadays, his elders are not present, and he is the most authoritative person. Upon hearing all 3 of them speak, Lu Lingji frowned and said calmly, Emei. Do you know you're wrong? Emei paused for a moment and immediately said, Brother Lu Zhen, don't accuse me. Lu Lingji sighed lightly and said, The 5-spirit mantra is one of the introductory lessons of our Emei sect. You have already learned this method, but Tang Jingyu and Yu Yuanzuan have not learned it at all. Only you can boast about manipulating the 5-spirit emerald peak and observing the surrounding territory for thousands of miles. Neither of them knows the key to it. Mo Huer's eyes rolled and immediately shouted, I saw Xie Lingshuan and Tang Jingyu always muttering to each other. Maybe it was he who taught them to this person. What did they insist on relying on me for? Brother Lu Jian, don't think he is a true disciple and just bully honest disciples like me who haven't started yet. Mo Huer's words immediately made all the Emei disciples furrow their brows. He didn't even realize that he had shown a great deal of confidence and shouted loudly at Lu Lingji, making a face that I was reasonable and not afraid of anyone. The rules of the Emei sect are extremely strict. Mo Huer was well liked by the Xuanhe Taoist and passed on a 5-spirit mantra to him casually. However, Xie Lingshuan, who had not been taught this method yet, naturally had no way of teaching it to Tang Jingyu. This is a well-known fact among Emei disciples. Lu Lingji frowned slightly and laughed back angrily, saying, Junior brother Xie Lingshuan is not so ignorant. Since you're saying that, I'll let junior brother Xie Lingshuan come and confront you. Wang Chong suddenly said, when I first entered the 5-spirit immortals mansion, Master Xuanhe once said that the return to the immortal mirror can trace back to the past and future. Why don't Lingji Xiantong urge this treasure to investigate everything that happened just now? Under the secret treasure of the immortal family, there is no way to conceal what anyone has done or said. It must be known who is lying. Huixian Mirror is a rare treasure of the immortal mansion and the first magic weapon of the Emei sect. It has infinite magical effects, not only able to illuminate the presence or absence of demonic aura, but also illuminate the past and future, past and present. It's just that it consumes a lot of mana to activate this extraordinary treasure in the immortal mansion. Even the elders of the Emei sect wouldn't easily use this magical treasure. But if it weren't for the clarity of the past and future, the past and present, just tracing a pillar of incense, even Lu Lingji could barely urge it. Lu Lingji glanced at Wang Chong, couldn't help but nod slightly, and also had a slight liking for Wang Chong. Lu Lingji's secular name is extremely rustic, and he is not very fond of it. The disciples of the Emei sect all know this taboo, and no one will call him Lu Jian. Mo Huer thought he was called Huer in order to establish a relationship, and others must also like this style. He always called Lu Genj by name and surname. His sister Mo Yinling advised her a few times, but Mo Huer always gave a stiff neck and said, I call myself brother Lu Jian, and he also likes me to call him that way. Do you want to take care of him? Lu Lingji was actually quite annoyed by Mo Huer's way of calling him, but he was too embarrassed to say anything. He was afraid that the teacher would say that his Tao was unstable and he even cared about his name, so Mo Huer didn't know he had offended anyone. Wang Chong specifically referred to him as Lingji, which made Lu Jian's heart slightly refreshed and he breathed a sigh of relief. Mo Hu is just an ordinary mischievous child. Although he is smart, how does he know the beauty of the immortal family's magic? Although I have heard that Huixian Mirror can trace back the past, I am not afraid at all. I just suddenly saw that everyone did not believe him, and my face still showed a hint of panic. Upon seeing Mo Huer's expression, Lu Lingji knew that in this matter, it must have been the bear child who had lied and ignored Mo Huer and Yu Yuanzuan who had been stunned. He needed the Dharma formula, bowed slightly, and let out a clear drink. Disciple Lu Lingji, please ask the immortal master to perform the Dharma and trace back to what happened just now. After a moment, a clear light rolled down and brought Mo Huer, Yu Yuanzuan, and Wang Chong to this place just now. He was proud and said that he could activate the 5 spirits Tsuebi Peak, take care of the surrounding scenery for thousands of miles, which was very fun. And all the subsequent words and actions were demonstrated together. Although Lu Lingji is considered the most powerful among the 3 generations of disciples, after all, his cultivation is relatively shallow. After reluctantly urging him to return to the immortal mirror for a while, he saw a sweat on his forehead. He saw that the truth had already been revealed, so he scattered the spell and respectfully requested the return of the immortal mirror's elemental spirit. At this moment, the situation came to light, and the other disciples of the Emei sect who followed along didn't look very good. Mo Huer's reckless move on Wuling Tsuebi Peak is enough. He actually wants to deceive them and falsely accuse Xia Lingshuan. It's tolerable. Who can't bear it? Just now, in order to argue, he claimed to be an honest disciple who has not yet started, which made these disciples of the Emei sect laugh even more. What kind of Emei disciple is one who hasn't started yet? Besides, this kid is full of lies, how can he be half honest? These disciples of the Emei sect also remained silent, so as not to disturb Lu Lingji's judgment, and the atmosphere of the scene suddenly became cold. Mo Huer was eagerly anticipating AI and didn't know how to defend herself for a moment. She hurriedly looked at Yu Yuanzuan, hoping that Yu Yuanzuan could speak a few words for him. At this moment, Yu Yuanzuan was also regretful. How could he have thought that Hui Xianjing was so supernatural that everything that had just happened could be reproduced? I am complaining in my heart that Mo Huer has more than enough success and failure, and I am afraid that I will be implicated by Mo Huer. How could I still speak for him? End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Apprenticeship to Mount Emei, 7. Lu Lingji pondered for a while, feeling that this matter was not big or small. After all, although Mo Huer planned to tamper with the 5-spirit Tsuebi Peak without authorization, he had not actually taken action, and the severity of punishment was not good. Mo Yinling, the sister of Mo Huer, has some background and has already made up her mind to be admitted to Emei. In the future, she will have a broad family background. Even our ancestors had a sign that in the future, Emei would prosper and require the gathering of 1 immortal, 2 clouds, and 2 bells. Mo Yinling is one of the numerous disciples appointed by the patriarch. In order to save her, the Emei sect dispatched several elders in a row. She knew that her younger brother was causing trouble and would definitely come to plead for mercy. Lu Lingji wanted to give Mo Yinling some face. Lu Lingji was indecisive when Wang Chong suggested, if Lingji Xiantong finds this matter difficult, why not gather with other martial brothers to discuss and act together? Lu Lingji nodded slightly and thought to himself, I can't take responsibility for this matter. Let's make a decision together. This matter is up to Sister Mo Yinling, so don't go and disturb Master Xuanhe for now. He casually pointed and said, you 3 come with me first. Lu Lingji led 3 people straight to the Tai Xing Immortal Mansion, which is one of the 5 main caves of the 5-spirit immortals mansion. When he brought people in, he rang the Tai Xing bell. However, in a moment, all 10 disciples of the Emei sect, except for a few who were still in seclusion, arrived. The other 3 disciples of the 4 major disciples of the 3 generations of Emei sect, Su Jingyang, Ying Yang, and Qi Bingyun, also appeared together. Lu Lingji recounted what had just happened, and Mo Yinling was so frightened that she trembled all over. She rushed to the ground without considering anything else and begged for mercy repeatedly, crying, my younger brother is too young and doesn't understand. It was also because I didn't discipline him well that he caused such a big trouble. I hope all of you, senior brothers and sisters, for the sake of my face, spare him this time. I promise he won't dare again in the future. Although Mo Yinling's time on the mountain was short, her popularity was good, and she had some friendship with almost all 3 generations of disciples. These 3 generations of disciples of the Emei sect are still very young, but they are not polite. When they hear this, they all ask for mercy on behalf of Mo Huer. Mo Huer was pulled down by her sister and knelt on the ground, feeling really angry. Although she lowered her head as if admitting her mistake, she did not feel that she was wrong. He stole a glance at Wang Chong and came up with some malicious ideas. He thought to himself, sooner or later, I will drive you out of the Emei sect. Today, you accuse me of your wrongdoing, and I will also trap you in the future. Lu Lingji didn't want to escalate this matter either. When he saw several senior brothers pleading for Mo Huer, he slowly said, although Mo Huer was mischievous, he didn't actually touch the 5 spirit shui by peak. It's okay to reduce the punishment. I won't mention this to Master Xuanhe. Although Mo Huer's mistake can be exposed, if it weren't for Tang Jingyu's warning, if Mo Huer really touched the 5 spirit shui by peak, even we would have been held responsible. We would have been rewarded. As soon as Lu Lingji spoke these words, everyone looked at each other. Su Jingyang, who was one of the 4 disciples in the same row, coughed and spoke up, Tang Jingyu has a general understanding. He saved us all from punishment. It's better to teach him a secular martial arts as a reward. As soon as Su Jingyang spoke, the other disciples all agreed, and this matter was settled. Not only was Mo Huer okay, but even Yu Yuanzuan was lightly let go. Wang Chong smiled bitterly in his heart. It's better if he didn't defeat Mo Huer and Yu Yuanzuan. He had hoped to win the favor of the Emei elders through this, but he didn't expect these 3 generations of disciples to suppress the situation and not report it to the Xuanhe Taoist. The Xuanhe Taoist was absent, and the 3 generations of disciples gently suppressed this matter, but his plan was still in vain. The only benefit of this matter is that it has finally drawn a clear boundary with Mo Huer and Yu Yuanzuan, and there may be less involvement in the future. Wang Chong thought to himself, I offended Mo Yinling and Mo Huer siblings, and then had a falling out with Yu Yuanzuan, but I didn't actually benefit from it. In the future, I'm afraid I'll have to be more careful and practice the Yuanyang sword technique more diligently. If I can master the Yuanyang sword technique and practice it, I won't have to go anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter whether I join the Emei sect or not, and there's no need for any tricks. Several senior disciples of the 3rd generation of the Emei sect discussed and gave Wang Chong a set of dragon subduing diamond hands as a gift. This set of dragon subduing diamond hands is inherited by Su Jingyang's family and is not a martial arts skill of the Emei sect. Therefore, it does not require the consent of the elders in the sect and can be privately imparted. Although Wang Chong looked down on this secular martial arts, he had to make a gesture of gratitude and tears, so as not to leave any bad impression in the hearts of these 3 generations of Emei disciples. As one of the 4 great disciples of the 3 generations, Su Jingyang holds a position that is far beyond that of other ordinary disciples. He lives alone in a bamboo tower, with a relatively elegant environment. He called Wang Chong to his residence, guided him for half an hour, memorized the dragon subduing diamond technique, and even demonstrated it to him 3 times. Su Jingyang is a handsome young man from a martial arts family. Before joining Emei, he was already a well-known young hero in the martial arts world. Later, by chance, he helped an Emei elder find a spiritual medicine, which was then included in the gate wall. He has a remarkable talent, and shortly after entering the field, he has surpassed many of his peers who started with it, and has become one of the 4 great disciples. Although Su Jingyang was not very old, he had been wandering the martial arts world for a long time and had a sharp eye. It was evident that Wang Chong did not like this set of martial arts, so he did not go into too much detail. He let Wang Chong practice at once, pointed out a few mistakes, and then invited him to have tea together, never mentioning martial arts. Su Jingyang came both civil and military, and his speech was much more humorous and witty than Xie Lingxuan's. His words were like a spring breeze, which easily gave off a sense of closeness. If Wang Chong had not had a ghost in his heart, just this acquaintance could have made Su Jingyang his lifelong confidant. The 2 of them sat idle for a while. Su Jingyang was about to prepare his homework, so he stood up and sent Wang Chong out. He also stated that there was anything unclear about the dragon subduing diamond hand that had just been passed on, and he could come and ask at any time. Wang Chong didn't pay much attention to this set of martial arts. After all, no matter how brilliant the secular martial arts were, they could not defeat the most basic magic. If Su Jingyang teaches seriously and watches him practice every day, it will be even more troublesome and delay the time to cultivate the Yuanyang sword technique. One of the 4 disciples, with such a relaxed attitude, actually aligns more with Wang Chong's wishes. After this storm, Wang Chong refused to go out again and secretly practiced the Yuanyang sword technique behind closed doors every day, even talking less to Xia Lingxuan, who was delivering food. Xia Lingxuan only felt annoyed when Wang Chong was falsely accused once. He almost got tricked by Mo Huer and also had a strong sense of solidarity. He always cared a few words when delivering meals, and his attitude was truly friendly. The relationship between the two not only did not cool down, but also added a touch of intimacy. Wang Chong spent more than 10 days working hard to restore the power that had been stored in the orifices of heaven and earth to himself, refining it into the most pure Yuanyang true qi. End of this chapter.